News. I have some important news for you.
Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
K-Man's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Well, good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Good morning, Blake and Aaron, and everybody in Radioland. How are you?
Oh, we're good. We're good.
Great.
What
Awesome.
What is happening newsworthy today?
Wow. So we have two more COVID-related deaths, including the first one from Cayman Brack, unfortunately.
Oh,
Yeah.
Do you have details on that? Like COVID related? What is it? Is it something from something
Well,
else?
she was. I do have details on one of the two, and I do know that the lady in the Brack had, numerous health issues, and she was a dialysis patient. She was bedridden. She was quite old, so I think that one is probably no surprise.
Still sad.
And then the other person, I don't really have a whole lot on yet. So perhaps we'll hear a bit more through the grapevine on the Mall Road a little bit later on. But of course, we express our condolences to both families.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were just talking about the new the updates to the regulations, which I think is a good thing.
Yes. So the government essentially announced yesterday that they were going to be loosening the regulations a little bit. People who have children still are in a bit of a situation.
I think that's the thing that needs to really.
That's what we need to change.
They need to look at that. I mean, being able to come onto island and travel,
Should
they should be able to
LFT your kids. Yeah.
I mean, I get it's the honor system, but in the vaccinated, most of us were not forced to get vaccinated.
Right.
We all want to do the right thing.
Yeah, we still can't travel. It's an impact on our families. We can't quarantine for that long.
Other airlines aren't going to want to come here because they're not going to have full flights.
Right.
Because if people don't want to travel, with the kids.
We just can't do it with our jobs, with the school. It's not fair to. Miles would lose his mind if he had to be stuck indoors for 14 days.
Well, and also if you think about it, okay, at the school, one of the kids test positive in the class, they're still able to go to class as long as they test negative on LT. Right. I don't know why that's any different from travel.
It's not.
Yeah.
I think it's coming. It's just a cautionary situation where they're continuing to watch the numbers. The government's in a precarious situation, right? There will be people who right now still believe that we should never have opened our borders and we have to remain closed. And
there's going to be those people no matter what.
Those people are extremely vocal, and so the government is trying to strike a balance.
Yeah. You know what? The government is the government, but there's also the health officials and scientists and actual
Well, that's who they're taking advice from.
And that's what they should be doing. Governments need to separate themselves from,
and
make sure that
health.
they listen to that. Yeah.
Mental health is really important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially in young kids.
I mean, there were like 4,000 people or families, I don't know, in lockdown over Christmas. That's kind of nuts.
Yeah, so there are quite a bit of changes. Obviously, fully vaccinated persons will get the benefit of being fully vaccinated with a negative PCR test. A negative flow test, lateral flow. Yes, they can go about their business as usual, and for 10 days, which I think is good. It resumes some degree of normalcy. If you test positive, of course, and you're fully vaccinated, you still have to isolate for the 10 days and then do a PCR test on day 11.
Yeah, but that number went down for the vaccinated.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, it was like 14 or whatever. Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's going in the right direction.
So I think we continue to go there. So we have Miss Rhoda Ebanks of Chisholm Grocery, who passed away. Her funeral service she was 91 years old, I believe. Yes, wow. She was 91 years old.
91, really?
I know.
I hope I live to be in my 90s.
It's a very full life. And anyone from Northside will know that her parents started at Chisholm Grocery Store in 1954. So she's been there from day one, and she retired in 2013. And she's just been a staple at that location for many, many years. So we also extend condolences to her family, and the service is on Friday.
Aw.
So yeah,
It's a great little shop. When I'm in North
Yeah.
Side, I stop in there to grab some stuff.
Absolutely. You know, when you're traveling out that way, it's nice to pop in and say hi to everybody. Vehicle owners, if you own a vehicle, you are being reminded to please come in. Remember when they switched the license plates and then you had to wait?
No, it's been so long I don't remember.
Yeah.
It literally has been that long.
There's still some yellow.
I still have yellow plates on
You
my
do?
car. Never.
Have they never said come get new plates?
Well, now they're telling you, Aaron, this message is for you. They said,
My car's
Aaron,
also in the shop.
come and get new plates.
What do I do? Just walk in and say, I need my plates?
So switch a plate between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. this weekend.
Okay.
Saturday, the 15th. Then next weekend, the 22nd. Is that the next weekend?
I thought it was when your registration ran out. You would go in, renew your registration, and then they would give you plates.
Well, I have to renew my registration, so I'll just kind of. I've been waiting. Last year they would have done it.
They're at the end of the road, literally. And so you probably have just a handful of people like Aaron who are still hanging on.
I've been waiting. Not mine. Yeah, I've been waiting. I ask them every time. They're like, "Oh, we don't have any yet." Like, okay, well, I'll try again next year. I'm not gonna go out of my way to go into the wait in that line.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, I have to go in there once I get my car back from the shop. Still getting fixed.
You don't want to wait in line
and
just
then
to ask a question.
Yeah, and then I'll get it renewed and I'll ask for the license plate at the same time. I mean, my husband's new truck doesn't even have the license plate yet.
Yeah, well, if you have a temporary plate, so this is specific to temporary plates, they're going to cease to be legal at the end of May. So you definitely want to make sure that you're compliant with this. You've got 3 Saturdays in a row starting this week from 9 to 2 to go and hopefully get that sorted out.
But you have to go on a Saturday.
Or what? Or what?
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Do we really want to ask?
Is there an or what?
Hold on. So, no, we have to go on a Saturday?
Yes.
Well, you could go anytime during the week, couldn't you?
I think Aaron's situation is a little bit different. That's not a temporary plate, right? So, but you should probably try to get that changed out pretty soon. I would recommend.
Well, I mean, do they have? So they have the license plates. They just haven't told us. Now they're telling us is the thing, but over the radio, not a conversation with. Hey, by the way, your new plate's in.
Yeah, an email
and text message. I don't know
something. I mean, they've got your info.
Can't believe they had to go through Sandy to tell me my plate's ready.
Yeah, well, there you go. She's heard it on the Marl Road. We'll catch your show now, or people can catch you on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye. Our segment.
All right. So, Aaron is so funny. Girl, go get your new plate. All right. Going to send out my notifications. Do you guys like this look or the one with the border? I can do it with where it has like a black border, but you actually get to see less of the background. So this is like an aesthetics question. I do it that way. It's called the solo view, when I actually have a background that I want to be seen, but I've been leaving it just in black and the black trim. And I kind of like that look sometimes. So we had a power outage last night in Lower Valley. Did anybody else experience this power outage? And so, you know, guys, we have a lot of devices around here. I mean, my gosh. And everything seems to be a little bit off now. All of the like Alexa devices have the wrong time. So that Alexa device is 6:47 a.m. So yeah. So major power outage last night. So I am still trying to restart everything. Let's see here. Yeah, so I'm trying to restart everything. It's a lot. It's a lot of devices. I'm not restarting it. Marlon is restarting it. I'm gonna give him full credit. Oops. So, but on my computer, I have a lot that I have to do. Some like relaunching things, opening applications. I tell you what, this computer gets a lot of it gets a lot of use. So yeah, so give me 1 second here. Opening up all my secondary browsers. So on this window over here, I've got 2 screens. You guys probably know this already. And that's why sometimes I'm looking to my right, because that's a totally different screen. So the screen over there, I also have 2 WhatsApp numbers that I use. WhatsApp web. One is WhatsApp desktop and the other one is WhatsApp at web. And so I have one WhatsApp on this screen and one on this screen. Yeah. So I'm just trying to get everything reopened, basically. The power outage didn't last too long, but we actually heard, I think it was very, very, very localized in Lower Valley, because we actually heard when it went pop, like we heard the pop. So it was like a transformer or something that, you know, got blown. So give me 1 second here so I can grab my links for everybody in WhatsApp. I know y'all be sitting down there waiting instead of just jumping on Facebook. Y'all like, when's Sandy gonna send me the link? Okay, so I will do that now. If you're on the WhatsApp news list, you'll know what I mean. I send it out every morning. I try to remember to do this. People enjoy getting the reminders. So we actually have multiple WhatsApp lists because we do have so many people that, why is somebody calling me? People always call me like during the show. I'm like, do they not know I have a morning show by now? Yeah, so there we go. So lots going on here at CMR. You know, we branded our CMR TV, which is how we're going to do our streaming, our streaming video content. And so another element called Sort 'em Out Sandy is going to be launching. So, you know, we've just launched our daily news segment, which we're doing roughly around 9 o'clock at night, give or take a few minutes. Last night, we were about 10 minutes late with uploading that because we try to include like the daily COVID information if it comes in sufficient time. It doesn't always, unfortunately. So, you know, when it doesn't, there's not much we can do about that. So tell me what you guys like. I always like to hear your opinion on different things. So this is like the full screen view. Tell me if you prefer that versus, let me show you, versus this view. You see where it's kind of cropped and then it has that black background. You actually see less of the screen, I suppose. But I'm curious to know if you have a preference. It's really supposed to work if I'm using a background like around the trim and not necessarily be black, but I kind of just like the black sometimes. So we're doing a lot of branding exercises in the background. We're adding a lot of elements to CMR. You guys helped pick the CMR TV logo, for example. We're going to do a video segment called Sort 'em Out Sandy. And Sort 'em Out Sandy is basically, you guys send me your problems and issues and concerns anyway. And it's kind of like a hybrid between, remember that show, Help Me Howard in the States, where it was more like businesses and you'd send Howard your complaints where someone tried to like rip you off or whatever. And then he would reach out to the companies and try to intervene on people's behalf. Well, this is kind of a little bit of that with a Marl Road twist, because you know Marl Road always has a twist. The Marl Road is that on my screen or on my neck? Oh, I see a little thing on the screen. The Marl Road is very it is what it is. You know, it is very, sometimes it's tumultuous, sometimes it's curvy. It has rocks in it. So you're walking down the Marl Road, you're kicking about some rocks and so on. But, you know, it is what it is. So our feature, Sort 'em Out Sandy, is going to have not just, you know, your business complaints, which we do get those, but your questions, like your personal questions. Like a couple of days ago, I got a question about a husband who seems like, you know, he's a cheating husband. And the woman's like, what can I do? she was asking some very specific questions based on her scenario. So we are going to answer some of those questions. Funny enough, I got another one this morning. So we got some people saying that they like the full view. So I've got another another one this morning. So that this one is about another cheating husband. Y'all got a lot of cheating men around the place. My gosh. And this one has questions about DNA tests and if you can force your husband to take a DNA test. So this is quite an interesting question, and I think it's worth a discussion. So we're going to be launching this section. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, it's a combination of my just good old-fashioned Caymanian advice on what to do in certain situations, coupled with sometimes maybe a little tinge of, this is what the law says, and this is what your options are legally. And then, putting it all together for you, and you go away and have a think about it. Of course, you never have to follow anybody's advice. That's completely on you. So yeah, stay tuned for that segment. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I didn't get to bed early last night at all. I always have good intentions about going to bed early, and then it never seems to work out for some reason. So listen, yesterday I went to acupuncture. You guys know I've had this tennis elbow issue for quite some time. I wish I had a magic wand to make this go away, because it's one of those things that's just constantly there in terms of pain. And it's the only constant pain that I have at the moment, but it's such a peculiar thing because of where it's located. So I find that when I extend my arm, obviously, that muscle that runs across, that's where the issue really lies. It's the muscle that runs across where you feel it, you feel the pain in the elbow region. And you guys will remember that some months ago, I actually got a steroid shot in the elbow. I still have there's a little mark, it took away the pigmentation. I know you can't really see that one. It actually took away the pigmentation in my elbow, and that right where the needle went in. And it seems to be coming back. It's not as white as it used to be. So the pigmentation, I guess, will eventually come back. And that only temporarily helped. So, doing physiotherapy, trying to work on loosening up the muscle that runs across, and doing different types of exercises with the wrists. It could be associated with typing, I think in my case, like overusing, the typing fingers and stuff like that. And then it's creating an issue in that left arm. But, I made an observation that all of my health issues in the last 5 years have all been on my left side. Now, this is a little bit peculiar, but it is what it is. And I had to have a think to myself about how this could all possibly be connected. So of course I'm right-handed. So my dominant side is my right side. And the left side issues started with the Achilles heel, which was years worth of, oh my God, that was one of the most uncomfortable things, because we all got to walk, right? And you use these parts of your body when they feel good and you're doing the most, you don't really think about it. But so it started with the Achilles heel a couple of years ago. And that was an injury from exercising and not really warming up or stretching properly beforehand. This is why you got to ease back into things, right? We're no longer at the age where you can just jump up and be like, oh, I'm going to go run a marathon tomorrow. And you've not exercised in 2 years. You gotta warm up. You got to work up to it. You got to get things back on track. So that was that. That kicked that off. And then that went on for a while. The most effective treatment actually for the Achilles heel turned out to be something that initially my insurance company wouldn't pay for, government. And it's called shockwave therapy. And I think there's only one medical provider on an island that has the shockwave machine, because they're quite expensive. In fact, when I was talking to Dr. Anthony about it, he's the podiatrist, he was saying that he thinks that he's going to invest in one. I think they're like $30,000, $40,000. They're not cheap machine. and you have to know that people are going to use it, right? So I found that eventually that allowed the Achilles heel to settle down. And it's not the most pleasant treatment in the world, because it's almost like you guys know the massage guns that I have a massage gun, and I think they're very useful for self massaging when you can't always get to massage therapists. It's kind of looks a little bit similar to that, and it sends shock waves to a specific area, and they do it like in a different frequency and for different durations of time depending on the nature of the injury. But I think how it really works is that it actually creates, it sort of re-injures the location, but at a frequency that then kind of forces it to try to heal itself, if that makes any sense. But it's one of those treatments that, insurance companies like, oh, we don't know. We can't say 1,000% that it definitely works for everybody, but there's good research. And Dr. Anthony provided me with the research. There is good research that has pointed to, when it comes to the specific issue I was having, which is this Achilles heel injury, that it actually has shown some very, very good results in multiple studies. And I did present that to the insurance company and stuff. And eventually I think we got it approved, right? But yeah, that's what helped. Like literally that was a lifesaver. Then the issue moved from the bottom up. So then I had the knee. You guys remember the torn meniscus in the knee. Don't exactly know how I tore it, but one day I was having lunch with a friend. I was sitting down for quite some time. And then I went to get up and I just felt like, ooh, my knee feels a little bit like, it wasn't like a snap or anything obvious. It was more like, gee, I feel kind of stiff. I wonder, what this is all about. So, that basically the best medical advice was like, just wait, I've got a delivery here from A.L. Thompson's. Might have to take a little commercial break. And yeah, it was like, let's just wait and see kind of what happens, because a torn meniscus and the way that it was torn, the orthopedic surgeon said this doesn't require like immediate surgery or anything. This probably will just heal itself and resolve itself. So let's just wait. And I did that. And that's pretty well resolved. I mean, I have to be careful. There are days when I'm standing on it or whatever that I try to be cognizant of what I'm doing. I try to move. So if I'm sitting down for too long, I move the leg, I get up. Okay, I don't want to stay in a position for too long with the knee, right? And I think that's what had happened the first days. I sit in a very unusual position. I don't know who else does this. But when you drive, do you pay attention to the position of your body when you're driving? Because I have noticed, this is very, very strange, but I've noticed that when I drive, sometimes I interlock my legs underneath each other. Like, you have the right foot as the pedal, brake, and, most people only use one foot to drive, right? That's not unusual. And then the other foot, I'll actually have it tucked away a lot of times under the foot that's driving. And I've always thought to myself, whenever I catch myself doing it, I become conscious of it. I move my foot positioning because I always think, oh, that's probably not the safest or the best position to be in case you get in a car accident. Like you'll probably break both feet, But I do very unusual things like that. So sometimes I find I'm locking my feet or I'm sitting in a particular way that probably isn't conducive to like your orthopedic well-being. So I try to be a little bit more cautious about those things as I get older, because the joints just aren't what they used to be. And then it went from the Achilles, the knee, right? That tear. Then it went straight up to the shoulder. So you guys remember the shoulder pain. That was diagnosed as frozen shoulder. It's still there. It's not as bad as it was. Mostly I feel it in the morning when I first get up. As I limber up during the day, that kind of feels okay. What I found that helps with that, believe it or not, is using a pillow. I've been using my daughter's. She has a little sheet pillow that I bought her when she was a baby. I think I need to order another one off of Amazon, actually. And I use that instead of a regular pillow. I use it in the crutch of my neck, because I feel like it's taken the pressure off of the shoulder when I'm sleeping. And it kind of gives me support here. And then the head and the neck is taking the brunt of the lying down. Very, very strange, but I found that really has helped quite a bit. And I did do a steroid shot in the shoulder as well, which kind of helped temporarily. But I do have, I went to the visiting orthopedic surgeons, and they diagnosed it as frozen shoulder. They kind of looked at all the x-rays and everything and said, wait that one out. Just wait it out. A lot of people, they actually also call it the 50-year-old shoulder. So as you start to reach 50, it is, I bet you this person who's calling me is probably L. Thompson's. As you start to reach 50, yeah, give me 1 second, guys. All right, folks. Big shout out to A.L. Thompson's. They come early in the morning, child. So I was telling you guys about my pre-50 woes. Got a couple years still, but it's getting there. So yeah, so the shoulders kind of mostly resolved. At night, I do feel it. And like I said, I try to alleviate it with a little small pillow that I use for my neck. Then after that, it was the Achilles heel, the tennis elbow. So that's been the most recent thing, well, sort of, because then the thumb started bothering me last week. So the tennis elbow needs to be resolved. So I started acupuncture for that yesterday. I'll go to another session next week. Anybody here ever had acupuncture before? In the past, I've responded fairly well to acupuncture. It normally takes more than a single treatment, but I kind of felt like yesterday was useful. I fall asleep on the table. Once the needles are in, I literally fall asleep. She put needles, like sometimes needles are in the oddest place and you think, what's that for? And I have a needle on the top. She put on the top of my head. And then she did a lot of treatments on this side. So I had needles in my ears. I had down the arms, in this area, because, between the thumb and what finger is this? What is this finger called? The index? Is this index finger? So between those, that's actually a major pressure point, because that if you're pregnant, you should be careful. This is a pressure point. I'm going to tell you guys this because this has actually worked for me before. Between the thumb and the index finger, that's a pressure point where if you have a certain type of headache, you can actually massage it and put like pressure on it and it'll make your headache go away. But if you are pregnant, do not use that pressure point, because apparently it can trigger like contractions and premature labor and stuff. So you want to be very, very careful if you are using it for that. So Maria says Tiger Balm is a magical thing. Like, I am trying everything that I can. So yes, I think I have some Tiger Balm, but BioFreeze, whatever. But the most important thing I feel like is to get to the source of what's causing it, which is this over tight muscle that is now making the pain radiate. And I've got to do my wrist exercises. So I do stretch it and I do my extensions, and what can I say except when you're feeling good, appreciate how good you actually feel. But the left side of my body has been giving me a warm time for probably like the last 4 or 5 years. It's been something on that side. The right side's good, Shal. The right side's like, yay, win on this side. Anyway, oh, we have the same phone case. Oh gosh, I need to change this one out now. This one's looking kind of crazy. I try to change out my phone cases every once in a while. But yeah, I need a new phone case. I need to go. This is something from December I was supposed to do, was on my to-do list. It's never happened. So I need to link up and see where I can get a new phone case from. But listen, I was looking at one of these exercise mirrors. Have you guys looked at any of these? Where you stand, it's like a mirror, and it gives you, like, your instructor is in the mirror. And I noticed that all of them come with like a subscription. So you got to think about the cost of not just the exercise mirror, but the ongoing subscription so that you can get access to the content. And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, the verdict is still out. Like, I think it's a great idea. One is called The Mirror, but there's a couple different ones. And some actually come with like weights attached and all sorts of stuff that you can do. But the verdict is still out on whether or not I really want to get one. Because what happens to me is I end up buying these gadgets and then you never really use them. So So yeah, so I'm thinking about it. I was thinking about that for a Christmas present for myself, but yeah, somebody here locally is selling them. And the verdict is still out. I'm kind of a bit like, I read up on it. I did my research. And I'm just like, I'm going to still think about it. I haven't quite decided, because I have subscribed to, there's one called, oh gosh, it's an online fitness thing as well. What was that one called? I used to have the app on the phone and everything. Child, I never did a thing. It's like having a personal trainer in your own living room. The great thing about it is you get a lot of variety. So you might pay a little bit more. Oh yeah, somebody listening, they say, oh, this place has them. That's exactly where I was looking. And you know what? They had them on sale until I think she said the sale was going to end on the 5th of January. And I said to myself, Sandy, don't let the sale price push you into a decision to get it. Think practically, money management. Think practically about I think it's a great investment if you're going to use it. But you're going to pay money upfront, and then you have to pay a monthly fee. And that's where you got to read the fine print, because the monthly fee on that one is, let me see if I can tell you. Oh, child, trust me, I was doing my research all last weekend or the weekend before. So this one is the ProForm View Home Gym Trainer. And I want to say that the monthly fee, this is $39 US per month. Now, some places in the US, and of course, we don't have the benefit of all this in Cayman, but some places in the US actually offer it like for a year or whatever, with the iFit family membership. So I even see on their website, if you buy it directly from the company, you do get a 1-year subscription. Oh, no, this one only gives you 30 days. Oh, never mind. I think it was Home Shopping Network or something. They had it on, and they were offering a 1-year membership, which I thought was a pretty good deal. So the iFit family membership, some of them, each subscription, like each person is a different subscription. So it is legit like going to the gym, right? But it's kind of cool. It's a cool concept, and I'm really into it in a way, but I think you have to be cautious with these types of purchases, especially if you can't afford to pay that $39 every single month, because that's a recurring thing for as long as you use the product, right? So they have all these trainers. I'm going to show you guys some pictures, and they have they actually have different types of exercises, different instructors. So for variety, if you think about the variety that you're getting, I think on some level it makes sense. So here's this guy. He's working out with, I don't know who that instructor is, but it'll monitor like your heart rate up at the top. Like it does a lot of stuff. And I think some of them come with the heart monitor bands. Sometimes that's an add-on feature. So always read the fine print with these things, because sometimes you end up spending more than what you think. But this is it. This particular one is a standalone. Some of them have to be wall mounted. And I don't really want something that's wall mounted, because I think it decreases your flexibility of being able to move it around, especially when you have concrete walls, child. The Americans, they not got that much sheetrock everywhere. So their wall mounting is different. But yeah, look, here's this one. So you can do, some are more geared towards like aerobics, exercises. Some are do weight. So the trainers on the program, like you can select different types of trainers and stuff as well. So there's strength training, the HIIT training, which is a high intensity workout. So those are the ones that really get your heart pumping. There's yoga, and what else do they have? They have like a variety of different trainers and stuff like that as well. So if you're considering one of these, it's probably a good idea. Like it tells you how many calories you've burnt, what your heart rate is, how the duration of your workout. So it's kind of like on-demand training. It's like having a personal trainer in your house. But again, you've got to know that, it comes with an ongoing cost. Now, the one thing I did read about this particular one, this didn't get the highest rating in the world, and they include like a barbell and some other little weights. It said, listen, you're not buying it for any of those things because they're not really high quality at all. But if you're the average home user, which most of us are, we're not professional fitness people, then, this would probably be a decent starter device for you. Like I said, for me, the verdict is still out. I'm like thinking about it, but then I also think to myself, I have an entire home gym. It's a little miniature. I'll convert it into gym, but I've got an elliptical machine, a rowing machine, a bike, a treadmill, an ab machine, and they are all brand new in the sense that they've gotten no use on them at all. Literally, Gianna has probably used it more than me, because she goes in there and she tries to get on the elliptical for like 5 minutes. I should be so ashamed of myself. Like I really should be. I have no excuse. Well, I've used all these injuries as an excuse, and they're kind of a partial excuse, but that doesn't stop you from getting on the treadmill, still walking for half an hour. And you'd be surprised what that half an hour walk can do to you. So folks, 2022 is here. Tomorrow, I'm going to be having a planning session with Total Health, because Total Health has all of the available experts that I'm going to need as part of my support team. So they've got the nutritionist, because diet is 85% of this. So I can exercise out the wazoo all I want running up and down the mall road, but if the diet isn't under control, it is hardly going to matter. What you put in is 85% of the game. So I got to get that, tight and under control. They've got physiotherapists over there. They have, remember Dr. Oh gosh, what's his name now? He's actually the diabetes specialist. So I'm not diabetic, but diabetes does run in our family, and it has always been a concern. And even if it doesn't run in your family, and it's so strange that people in my family who've had it have all been like uncles. Like, it's kind of weird, but it does run in the family regardless, right? That's a family member. So you have to really, really be careful, because diabetes is one of those health related issues. That this is, it just health related issues, lifestyle related and connected issues. So folks, it's all about your lifestyle. You got to get the lifestyle really under control. So over at Total Health, they're located in Grand Pavilion. They have an entire comprehensive healthcare facility there with both state-of-the-art technology as well as some really great professional people. So we'll be having them, come on the show, talking to us about quite a few things. So we're going to do health checkup. We're going to check all my numbers to see where I'm at. I've always been one of those people, and I think this is deceptive. This is where you have to be careful, right? Because life catches up with you as you age. So where I was at 25, 18, 30, I no longer am there. So, but I've always been one of those people, even, when I didn't carry any extra weight, then obviously my numbers are fantastic. Now I am in the category of definitely obese. A good 50 pounds needs to come off of these bones, right? And that will help a lot of the issues that you hear me complaining about too, I'm sure. But despite that, I've always been one of those people that my numbers tend to be pretty good. Nothing, that A1C number, that's connected to diabetes, folks. All of my other numbers are always like really, really good. Cholesterol, this, that, whatever. And I think that gives you false hope that you're on the right path. But let me say this in terms of your health, folks, is most people who have a heart attack, and I think it's like over 50% of the people who have a heart attack had no warning signs in terms of their numbers. So they didn't have high cholesterol. There wasn't that ache of a pain like the week before. They just, boom, dropped down with a heart attack, and that's it. So, your body can take so much, and it will try to help you as much as it can. But let's be very, very honest. A lot of us are putting stressors on our bodies that we have to be cognizant of. And diet, poor diet, lack of exercise. Someone is saying, how about a couch to 5K program? I like that idea, actually. And I think anything that does it incrementally and slowly is a wonderful idea. So, lack of exercise, taking on too much stress, all these things compound, not sleeping enough. I'm a horrible, horrible, horrible sleeper. And I feel like that's one of the things that's probably shortening my life. So one of my goals for 2022 is to start getting to bed before 1 o'clock and 1:30 in the morning. Like, legit, that's every night. I'm thinking, can I go to bed by 11? So I have to make a concerted effort to change these things. So I'm going to do one thing at a time. Remember, this is my 50 by 50 situation. So 50 pounds by 50 is the big goal. Remember, we talked about goal setting last week, but I'm going to break that up into manageable things. So I love this suggestion of doing like a couch to 5K program, because these are all apps that you can download on your phone. A lot of them are free, actually. So you don't necessarily have to pay for anything. A lot of these are free, and they walk you through week 1. This is what we're going to do. Like, maybe it'll take me, how long does it take to go from couch to 5K? So I don't know. Is that 6 months? Is it 3 months? I'm not sure. But, it'll break it down into manageable programs for like manageable levels. So week 1, this is what you're going to do. Week 2, you're going to step it up, do a little 5 minutes more. Like, you don't have to kill yourself, right? Felicia, good morning. Louis says sitting down for long periods of time is bad for blood circulation. That is why first thing in the morning when I get up and I do this show, that's 2 hours of doing this show. And it occurred to me, I was doing it initially, and then it occurred to me, why am I sitting down? Like, literally, I just got out of bed. Why am I sitting down for 2 hours? But how many of us, do the same thing? We jump in the car and we're sitting. We go to work and we're sitting. Sitting is killing a lot of us, believe me, you. And it's allowing the spread, your behind spreads, everything else spreads out. And so I stand for probably 99% of these cases, these shows. So occasionally I sit, and you can probably tell the difference when I'm sitting. Like if I'm not feeling 100% well, like because I'm not eating breakfast like I should. So some mornings, the energy level, like I can feel probably that my blood sugar is low on the low side and stuff like that. I'm like, I really need to sit today. But most days I just stand for the 2 hours. I have a chair that's right here, but I'm actually not sitting in the chair. There are times like right now, my leg is actually on the chair because I just kind of moved my position a little bit, but I'm not sitting. And I think to myself, why should I be sitting? During COVID, the lack of exercise impacted us in addition to the stress that we were going through. But I must say that was the one time that people were so happy to get out for that 1 hour a day that y'all were exercising all over the place. I have never seen my neighbors walk more than they did then. Honestly, nobody. Everybody was out walking, trying to get fresh air for that 1 hour and just movement and whatever. And I thought that was fantastic. And we have to continue that, I feel like, at some level to make sure we give ourselves that time, right? So good morning to Virtuous. Says, I hope you do a civic information session and financial sessions to help educate our kids. Not just kids, honey child, adults. We all need financial help. We all need money management. So yeah, I think that those things are wonderful programs to have on. Judy says, I've been loving the Fit On app, amazing workouts and trainers and all free. Is that a phone app? I got to check that one out. Okay. So these are home workouts. And yes, there are free options. This is unlimited access to the world's best workouts from celebrity trainers. Ooh, I have seen this one because I think, what's her name is on here? Halle Berry. Like I've seen her. So this is nice. Thank you for that, Judy. So they've got cardio, strength, high intensity, toning, yoga, stretch, no equipment, and Pilates. I've always felt like I really want to get into Pilates. Yes, here are some of the, let me show you guys this one because they've got some of the celebrity trainers on here. And we look at these celebrities and we think that they just have a body from God, I guess, and that they don't have to do anything for it. You'd be surprised how much of them, because it is their livelihood, actually work out on a regular basis. So what's the catch here though, Judy? I don't believe that anybody gives you something completely free. So is there a catch to this? So work out with celebs and world-class trainers who will motivate you to reach your goals. So we got Gabrielle Union, Juliana, is it Hugh? Jonathan Van Ness, I have no clue who he is. Casey Ho, Jeanette Jenkins. I must tell you that some of these celebrities, I don't know who they are. So you're probably not getting A-listers, because of course they would want tons of money. But it says here that they have a community of 10 million plus members. It's gotten 5 stars from 300,000 plus people. Okay. Challenging workouts. All right. Well, I think if it's free, even to get started, it's probably not a bad idea. Oh, they offer new courses. So here's some new stuff. Total Burn, Any Day Athlete, 20-minute fit, the Ultimate 30-day hit. Now, listen, these 30-day hit courses or any kind of hit courses, the high-intensity courses are really, really hard. So I would say, folks, you got to take your time. Like you can't go from 0 to 100. As that suggestion said, you start with a 5K program. Oh, okay. So the Fit On Pro gives you the personalized meal plan, 500 plus recipes, premium music, offline download, and more for the duration of the course. Ooh, this food looks good. I'm hungry already. So you get more. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, I guess if you don't, what is this $49.99 for? So this is like if you want to register. I guess some courses come like at a premium maybe, and you pay a bit more. So this is like a $50 course, and it's 4 weeks. You can get access from it starting on January the 17th. I'm going to check this out, Judy. I want to know a little bit more about this. But the one that I had before that I was paying for every month and not using, it just occurred to me the name of it again. It's Daily Burn. Trial. I was that one also have thousands of workouts. You can stream anywhere. And I don't even know what the monthly fee was, but child, I was wasting my money. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop wasting my money. So let me show you guys Daily Burn. I did like, the app, and you can download the app on your smart devices, like even your TV and stuff like that. And yeah, just work out in the comfort of your home. Now, the issue with some of these is the motivation that if you have a personal trainer, you kind of feel like that person's going to call you. They're going to message you if you don't show up, right? They're going to be like WhatsApping you. Hey, we're supposed to meet at 3:00 today. Where are you? The apps, not so much so. They're not going to be ringing your phone going, why didn't you come? But the buddy system can really do wonders for you. Wow, look at this lady. She lost 100 pounds. OMG. She looks so different. Look, she has a proper chin and everything. Nice neckline. Oh, she's beautiful. I mean, she was nice, okay looking before, but in this picture, she's definitely smoking now, 100 pounds later in 2 years. So this is good to see people's results. Oh, they got a whole tool to track your progress. I'm all for it, folks. What? Someone just messaged and said 7 Mile Strength and Fitness has a couch to 5K with group and personal training along with nutrition guides. I'm a coach and I lost 140 pounds. Are you kidding me? That's a whole person. Wow. That's amazing. I think at 50 pounds, I'm good. Like I'm one of those people that shouldn't lose too much weight because then I start to have I haven't seen those bones in a long time, but the collarbones and stuff when I was in high school, I felt like in high school, like I might've been, I was my ideal weight according to, what are these things called? What's the chart called? The BMI charts. That was my ideal weight in high school. But I'm telling you, I always thought I was a little bit too skinny because I had my collarbones were kind of ugh. And then I was a bit, the thing that was obvious about me is because I had big boobs. That's all you saw. And everybody was like, when I go to church, those little men be looking at me. I'm like, you're nasty. Don't be looking at my, hello, my eyes are up here, not down here. So as I filled out, and things got a little bit more whatever, then it was a little bit different. Irvin says, I have a 1-year subscription with Fit On that I got with my treadmill, and the program is very good. Sherry Ann says, just go to the local gym. Well, you know what? Me and gyms right now can't be friends because of COVID. I am sorry, but I just, I would have to try to dig one up. Oh my God. Judy, I've got one now, I got to dig one up though. But yeah, I gym and COVID, that's one of the worst places to go because of COVID. Honestly, I don't even want to touch equipment right now that other people are touching and stuff like that. Oh no, the thought of that. All right, let me see if I can find a picture. Hold on. This isn't really a good one necessarily, but okay, so I think I showed you guys one of these before. Some are in black and white, child. But let me see if I can show you. So This was a high school photo. Let me take the comment off so you can see it. That's me at the bottom, right over the green box. You see right there? That's me. So you see what I mean about my collarbones? Like I felt like, you know, I don't know. Like I felt like they should have been protruding quite that much, but that's me. When I look at how much hair I had, oh my God, I had a widow's peak, which I've had most of my 20s and 30s. It's kind of receded a little bit now. But man, I had some mad crazy hair. I kind of see where Gianna gets it both from like both sides of the family. I couldn't manage my hair. It was just too much. My aunt used to have to do it for me. Okay, so that's high school. This is also high school. You see me behind the guy, the second guy from the left. That's me right behind him, next to the Asian girl on the one side and the Spanish girl on the other side. This was our Spanish Honor Society. So that's me. And then this is university days. So university, we went with color. So this was me in university. I'd probably put on a few pounds by then. But still, you know, that was me there. So yeah. Anyway, we got some fitness goals here that we really gotta. Judy says it's Gigi. Do you think I look like Gigi? A lot of people, when I show them my baby picture, because I've got like a passport picture from when I was a baby, and a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, she looks just like you." I think she kind of looks like most people see her father when they look at her, especially when she was younger and she kind of had the very straight baby hair and you know the big eyes she obviously gets from me. But you know, she's still kind of, I think she's a combination of us both, really. So Amy says, check out Eager to Motivate. You do it with your own schedule and you get so much, including mental wellness, coaching, Zumba, spinning, circuits, focus on various parts of the body. It's super affordable. And they're only open signups for a week at a time. It's an 8-week program. Check it out on Facebook. Is this a local program, Amy? Like this is something that I have to go to in person? Louis says, child, that was more like the 20-something year challenge. That was not 10 years ago. Trust me. All right. So anyway, this is just a little bit of what's going through my head and what I need to be working on. Amy, I'm going to look it up because I've never heard of it. Oh, it's completely online. Okay. I haven't heard of it before. And you know what? There's a lot of good programs out there. I think the idea is just to get moving and you can find anything. So Larry says, is Gangster Paradise still your ringtone? I don't think it ever was. It is one of the songs that I really like, but no, I am not one of those people that tend to change my ringtones anymore to a song. That's like 1990s, I feel like. You know, I just keep a regular ringtone. So good morning to everyone. Larry, 25 degrees in New York. Loretta's here. Marshall, I saw that comment and made me chuckle. Jean Squat says if you take plates off and then they don't have new ones, then you have to bring back, I need confirmation that the new plates are ready. Can't you just go and pick up the plate and then take it off later? Like you don't have to take it off in advance of going, right? So John prefers the solo with the border. Good to know. Court updates. Are you going to court for the opening? So we will be live streaming the opening here. So the Grand Court does their whole ceremonial thing. So we will live stream that here this morning. I will be going to court later on today because guess who's in court? Twerka Mama. Lavelle is going to be in court this afternoon. I'm trying to figure out if she's in mental health court though. I feel like, let me see if I know this. Let me see. Anyway, so she's in court this afternoon. Oh no, she's in regular court for now. So she's there at 2:00 this afternoon. So I guess they have charged her for her to be in court. That means that not only have they arrested her, but they've actually charged her. Oh, you have to bring in your old plates. Let me try to find out. Let me try to find this out. Who can I ask this question? Let me see. I'll find out for you. Okay. All right, let me try to find out the situation with the plates. Yeah, because that changes things. Good morning, Tracy. She says a more realistic pace is around 5 pounds of solid mass every 6 months, and it takes an average of 2 to 3 weeks to lose it, according to health services. Yes, you got to do it. I don't necessarily watch the scale. Like, I know I say 50 by 50 because, I guess some numbers do matter. But for me, it's more about getting moving, watching a diet, and, sometimes you see more in the mirror than you do on the scale. So you see the toning happening and, that sort of thing. And I think that's what I personally like. I'm not obsessed with numbers in that way. So Judy says, I motivate myself by saying that there's no excuse not to do a 15-minute workout. And I prefer weights to cardio. So doing 15, 20 minutes of weights per day is fun for me. And I like that approach because weights are really, really important, especially for women of any age. But as you approach your 40s and beyond, it is still really, really important because, weight training helps you with things like osteoporosis, bone loss, all these things. So absolutely, Judy, I think that's great. And I think Judy makes a key point here. You don't have to go out there and run a marathon every week. Moderation and consistency is important. So if you get up every day and do a little 10 minutes extra or more than you would normally do, that 10 minutes matters. And you don't have to do it all at one time. Like, you do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. That's 20 minutes exercise right there. So, Judy, I like that. I think that's a wonderful piece of advice. You can take your time. You don't have to stress yourself out. I am a little bit competitive. Go figure. So I like certain types of sports. I love racket sports. I've always loved tennis. I've played off and on since I was in high school. I just love the game, right? And I love running up and down the court. And when I'm doing something like that, I don't even feel like I'm exercising because I'm having so much fun. So, you're pushing me to run and hit. So that's why you notice my latest obsession has been pickleball. And I'm waiting for a friend to come back on island who has a pickleball court because I need to get a feel for like a real court because right now we're just playing in the yard. And so I do want to get a feel for a real court to see what that's all about, the size and dimensions. And I also want to have a little run around with this person. Now, they're a little bit older than me, but I think they're fitter than I am. And they play all the time. So I'm sure they're going to give me a run for my money, but I'm still in it. And I'm in it to win it. So I'm like, I'm going to get ready for you on the pickleball court. So I'm excited about that. But anything to get moving. If you like walking, if you like weights, whatever it is, do your thing as long as you're moving. Good morning, Miss Emma. Larry says a few years back, not realizing I was out of shape, I did dips between 2 chairs and wound up in the emergency room with chest pains. I pulled a muscle. Wow. Yeah, Larry, that's serious. A lot of us don't realize how much we're out of shape. If we were being honest, I think we all know we're out of shape and we're all overweight and whatever, but sometimes you still, it's that, you overestimate your ability kind of thing, right? So Judy got a basketball net for Christmas. That's nice. And Larry, a muscle pain on the there are muscles all over the body, right? A muscle pain on the chest really feels like a heart attack. Like, I don't know what a heart attack feels like, but I'm thinking they probably feel very much the same because I've had that before and I thought I was having a heart attack. I was like, oh my God. And you go in there and like, oh no, you've just strained a muscle across your chest. And I'm like, what? A muscle across my chest? And yes, and it is very painful. Oh my gosh. Like, they have to give you an injection right away to kind of ease that level of pain. And you can get muscle spasms anywhere and stuff as well. But yeah, I've had that not that long ago, actually. And I get mine kind of at the top of the breastbone area. Oh, everybody's calling me today. Here's the FedEx man looking for me. Hold on one second. Let me see. Yeah, big shout out to FedEx, boy. They're on the money. So I got a package I need to grab from them today. So yeah, that's Larry. I sympathize with you because that is not a good feeling. And what I found, interesting enough, it's called. There's an actual term for it. I think it's called costochondritis, where you have that muscle that runs the length of the breast, and you can get that inflamed, and it's not a nice feeling at all. Let me see if I can tell you. Costochondritis. And it's an inflammation of the cartilage that connects a rib to the breastbone, which is the sternum. And it says pain caused by costochondritis might mimic that of a heart attack or other heart conditions. Whew, boy, do I know it. It is very, very painful. And I've had it more than once. When I first had Gianna, I got it some months later because I was just repetitiously taking her out on the same side all the time with my dominant side. So I'd put her in the car, and then she had like the baby seat where you took the whole thing out, and then you could just latch it into the stroller. When I was purchasing it, I thought, oh, that's a good idea, because then I don't have to take her out and she's sleeping, she can kind of stay in it and move from one. And so we had that as her first stroller car seat combo. Yeah, so after a while, I was getting this pain in my chest. I'm like, what is going on? And that movement, especially on one side, of taking her out with my right hand, because that's my dominant side, and we don't realize how much we use our dominant side, right? Doing that all the time, I had this costochondritis thing. And they'll normally give you anti-inflammatory drugs and stuff for it. So I was doing some physiotherapy, and you know what I found? This is so weird, because a regular physician said to me, that probably shouldn't really help as much as you think. But I actually did physio, and what the therapist did was she put a little bit of heat or ice on it. I can't remember which one she used, but she also did like a gentle massage of that area, and kind of just massaged it a little bit of like a fast rhythmic massage. And believe me when I tell you that it really made a difference. It says that it's most often in women and people over age 40, and that I believe. So yes, that massaging helped a lot. And so now when I get it, I can because literally when you touch that area, you can feel the soreness in that sort of breastbone area. And it is painful. If you've never had it, thank your lucky stars. All right, we're going to stop talking about all this stuff here in a second. But, we're 360 people, folks. So we are into politics. We're into exercising, or we should be. We're into all the pains and aches that we're walking around with every day. We're into relationships, relationship drama. We got it all because we're people, and that's just how it is. Some people are like 24/7. Oh, I'm just a business person. Oh, I'm just a lawyer. And it's like they don't have any feelings. They don't want to talk about anything else. I'm just like, what a snooze fest you are. You are so boring. I was joking with my husband the other day. Something he was saying to me. I was talking about something. And most men, they're like, listen, this is too much talking for me. And something he said to me, and I was like, Marlon, why do you think I would need a husband if not for someone to talk their ears off? And he was like, don't you get enough talking in Ma Road? He is, if you don't know Marlon, he's got a sense of humor. Sometimes Gianna and I both do it now. We just sit here, we just roll our eyes. And she's so funny when she rolls her eyes because he just is a joker. And we're just like, oh, Daddy, we're not joking right now. And sometimes she'll have to say, if she's not sure, Daddy, is that a joke? Like he'll say something to her and she's like, is that supposed to be funny? She hasn't quite figured it out yet. So did you guys catch our evening news segment yesterday? Our condolences are extended to multiple people who are dealing with the loss of family members at this time. Really, really sad to hear that we had 2 more COVID-related deaths. I don't know who the second person is, to be honest, but one of them, the lady from the BRAC, was older. I understand that she was bedridden. She'd been sick for quite some time. And she also was a dialysis patient, 87, she's 87 years old. So, what can you say? Unfortunately, she got COVID. And I think it seems like she might have been largely asymptomatic. Like, I kind of feel like she didn't have severe symptoms, but they have to list it as a COVID related death. Now, interestingly enough, how she got it was very, very interesting. The helper brought it in. And folks, this is where now you've got to be very mindful of helpers. Now, here's the thing. Some helpers are live-in helpers, or, especially when they're dealing with elderly, but, they do go out and about otherwise. So they may be out doing other things other than living in with you. Most of them go to church. But let me just say that you have to, in particular, be careful. Interestingly enough, this particular helper went to this, what we have been told is a super spreader event in Cayman Brac. Now, church people, don't get upset. Don't get all up in your feelings, because some of y'all commenting on social media about this, that, and the next thing, right? Oh, Brother Courtney, he's such a nice person. Nobody not saying nothing about Brother Courtney. I'm sure he's as nice as any other pastor out there. That's not the point. I spoke to Pastor Courtney. I spoke to Bishop Clark. There were some things in the article that needed to be clarified. All that happened. So Pastor Courtney tested positive. He told us that. His wife and son have now tested positive as well. He tried to isolate from them. Maybe they got it from the same church event, but there has been, and I don't know as of now how many positives that they have had linked to that church, but I think they would.
I'm having trouble understanding right now. Please try a little later.
But who's talking to you? Alexa's time is still off, so I don't know why she's talking, but anyway, Marlon has to sort out all these smart devices, y'all. So so a number of people related to that church have tested positive. So essentially, y'all don't need to get up any feelings about it. Not at all. Can I tell you that you guys would be shocked at the information that I get. I can't even tell you what I'm looking at on my screen right now, because this is so confidential. I don't even know where it came from. I mean, I know where I got it from, but I'm not getting it from no source. This is in circulation at some level. And it's information about Cayman Brac and so on and so forth. And so we pretty much know who in the Brac positive and who ain't positive and who ain't. Yeah, positive and not positive. I find it interesting when people say to me, you said Mario is positive and he got on his show and said he wasn't positive. I might listen to me. Do I look like I have food written on my forehead? Big FOOL, 4-letter word. Do I look like a tonto? I said, think about this for a minute. I would say that Mario is COVID positive if I wasn't sure. Of all the people. What he has done in his response, I haven't listened to his video, but I've heard people say what it's about, because I really don't watch him for the most part, right? I said, all that is smokes and mirrors. Ask the man to show you his PCR test. If you are hospitalized, or if you have to be admitted to the hospital, a couple months ago, September, I wasn't admitted, but my daughter was, but I was staying with her. I had to be PCR tested. That was the first time I actually took a PCR test. Since then, I've had a few. Show the results of the PCR test. I'm not saying that a lateral flow test right now is going to not give you a negative result, or it could be somebody else's lateral flow. There's so many explanations for that. That's not the point. The point is, at the time that the article was published and we said you were COVID positive, when you went to the hospital, you were COVID positive. Now, some of y'all so fool, and I got to call you what you are. They're saying, well, did he catch it in the hospital? As though, and I'm not saying that it's not possible for you to catch that in the hospital, but y'all are acting like the hospital purposely would have infected Mario. I mean, you conspiracy theories are kind of crazy. Like, the craziness has to You need to cool it down a little bit. You're drinking too much of the Kool-Aid. And the Kool-Aid seems to be laced with some kind of extra something. If Mario is COVID positive, so what? You know how many other people came out are COVID positive? The driver who just showed up was asking me a question, a COVID-related question. He's like, oh, I had to be isolated when I came back because I was COVID. I said, honey, child, that's everybody. That's life. What's the big deal? He was asking about the wristbands. He had a question about that. But all of y'all can get COVID at some point in your life. Some of us who haven't had it, we're trying to starve it off as long as possible until maybe, they come up with additional treatments or whatever. But it is a road that we're all traveling together, holding each other's hands and just praying along the way, child, because it's a hot mess. But no one is out there to get Mario, right? Circulating messages like, oh, maybe somebody beat him up because he's telling us the truth about the vaccine. Let me tell y'all something. The Medical and Dental Council, I would like for them to respond to the email that we have sent them, because I think it's uncorrigible. Is that the right word I'm looking for? That someone would send you an email and you would not respond to the email. And I'm going to speak to the minister about this because I'm not really impressed with the Medical and Dental Council. Because if you are sent an email, in my opinion, respond to the email. Even if you respond and say no comment, right? So we sent them a request on December the 29th and still no response. This time I'm going to send it to them and I'm going to copy the minister. What's her name? Sabrina Turner. All right. Let's see if they respond now that the minister has been included. Because that's some 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks. I get you had a few days for the holidays, but that's a long time to not respond to an email. Anyway, our question is really about the use of ivermectin in the Cayman Islands, because we have a physician who said that he's prescribing ivermectin. We want to know what the procedure is. Has the Medical and Dental Council approved the use of ivermectin for the treatment of COVID or coronavirus? To the best of our knowledge, that isn't the case. Answer the question. It would be really, really nice. But whatever side you are on the vaccine situation, you can be an anti-vaxxer, you can be a pro-vaxxer, you can be whatever. Just know that there's certain things that are a matter of fact and not a matter of opinion. 11, we got 14 people now? Because we had 12, 13, 14, yes, 14 people that have died from COVID now, COVID related. And again, most of these people had other comorbidities, cancer, old age, plus diabetes, plus whatever. Despite that, 13 of the 14 people were unvaccinated. That's just a fact. It's not a reason for you to get your panties all up in a bunch. Now, if you can extrapolate that factual information and think to yourself, is it possible that the vaccine gives you a little bit of an edge? That has been the trend worldwide. There's no jurisdiction in the world that you can go to where the vaccinated people are dying or hospitalized at a higher rate than the unvaccinated. That is a fact. It's not a matter of opinion. Omicron, which is now, we know, the dominant strain here in the Cayman Islands, has been a game changer. In other words, it will impact more people who are vaccinated. You're still getting some protection, honey child. That's what they tell you. Go get that booster, because that's going to bring your levels of protection right back up. Most people who are fully boosted with the vaccine are are going to be okay. So it is what it is. Let me just see here. You got to take every single possible precaution in the world that you are able to take to protect yourself during these times. Me, I'm not traveling. If it's not an emergency, and by emergency, I mean like surgery or something. No, count me out. I'm not going anywhere. Right now, I don't even want to go Kim and Brack, because with Kim and Brack's numbers, I'm probably more likely to catch it there than if I just stayed here. Because in the Brack, I would have to be out and about amongst people. Here in Cayman, I can pretty much stay home, go one or two places, go to court, keep my distance. They've deployed social distancing measures in court and that sort of thing, right? Okay. So what's popping off with the latest situation? So yesterday, we understand, we see that the government has made some changes to the isolation and quarantine regulations, basically. I think they're regulations, yes? You have to keep in mind, folks, that these things are subject to change. In the case of this particular situation, this was an immediate change. In other words, it goes into effect right away. And most people will admit that the changes that have been put forward are actually quite good, because it's loosening in some regards, especially for vaccinated individuals, the ability for them to still have some movement whilst they might even have a COVID positive in their household. So, let me just show you guys something. So what are we talking about here? If you are a vaccinated person and your primary contacts, let's break it down, because some of this gets a little bit confusing. So this is what the updated guidelines say. If you are vaccinated and you're positive, so in other words, you're a fully vaccinated person, you test positive for COVID-19, you have to isolate for 10 days. Day 11, you do a negative PCR test in order to exit isolation. So of course, if you're positive, they don't want you running out and about infecting people, right? So that's I kind of feel.
I'm having trouble understanding right now. Please try a little later.
Child, I'm not talking to you. Oh my goodness. This thing is like, unplug this, unplug that. All right, Alexa, just stop it.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding right now. Please try a little later.
In case you guys missed it, we had a power outage last night, and that's got all the devices all confused. Okay, so fully vaccinated persons, 10 days, isolation. Day 11, you have to do a negative PCR test. All right, not too bad. If you are a vaccinated contact, so in other words, you're vaccinated, you're not COVID positive, but you have a primary contact. And by the way, we have a definition of what a primary contact is. I'm going to tell you what that is here. But this is a big deal, because if you are a primary contact of someone else who's positive, lateral flow test for 10 days, and you continue your usual activities. Unvaccinated positives. So I'm sorry to tell you, but the unvaccinated will not get the same privileges as the vaccinated. So if you remain unvaccinated or partially vaccinated, so you got one shot and not number 2, you must isolate for 14 days. And then on day 15, you will get a negative, or you have to go and try to get a negative PCR test to be able to exit. Unvaccinated contacts. So if you're unvaccinated, you've got someone in the household who's positive, you must quarantine for 14 days. I think, no, this is, wait a minute, this is the same one. Yes, I think these are same slides basically. But anyway, if you are a vaccinated person and you're in primary contact, just remember the key here is you have to lateral flow test for 10 days. Now, somebody said to me yesterday, but Sandy, lateral flow tests are expensive. And you know what I said to them? You guys are going to have to forgive me for this, but I was like, cry me a river. I said, you can't have it both ways. What is wrong with you people? What are you going to do? You know, at the end of the day, folks, there's a compromise. There's a middle ground. Yes, now you can go out and about. But my thing to them was like, hold on, honey child. You're going to complain that you have to buy 10 days worth of lateral flow tests. The good news is you can keep working. You can keep going about your business, your normal activities. Isn't that great? That's the compromise. You can't have it both ways. Or people are like, just do away with everything. We don't want a lateral flow test. We don't want a PCR test. Let it run rampant. Let it kill who it's going to kill. There are extremes in life. And I think the government's responsibility is not to take an extreme position. So, Luis, that's actually what we're talking about this morning. That's what we're talking about right now, the new regulations, right? So I just showed you what they are. Let me bring them up again. So you've got to know that the government has to utilize some measure of temperament. They have to temper the situation. So they can't fling open the borders, fling open everything and let you all die of COVID. At the same time, we also are very much aware that you cannot be locked down indefinitely or forever. But that's also not a tenable situation. It's not going to work. And I know some of you are very much, into, well, just lock us down. Let me tell you who's trying to lock people down. Hold on a second. I'm going to tell y'all who's trying to do this. China, Hong Kong. There's one other place that I can't think of right now. So these countries are one of the few countries in the world who are exercising a zero, what's called COVID elimination policy. So headlines yesterday, China locks down third city, raising affected to 20 million people. Oh my gosh. So the Chinese government, and it's so ironic. I mean, honestly, it really, really is. They are of the opinion that they can lock down as many people as they have. First of all, I thought, oh, this is an impossibility. They can lock down all these people, 20 million people affected. And here we are. We got a little small island. We complaining about just thousands. So they have confined people to their homes. 20 million people confined to their homes, folks. So this city is called Anyang, home to 5.5 million people. So it was announced late on Monday that after 2 cases, must say that's pretty good for 5.5 million. Of the Omicron variant being reported, residents are not allowed to go out, and stores have been ordered shut except those selling necessities. Another 13 million people have been locked down in Yian. You have to forgive me. I'm sure my pronunciation is completely wrong. I never studied a day of Chinese in my life. For nearly 3 weeks, and another 1.1 million in Yuzhou. I'll just make it sound good. Yuzhou. For more than a week. No idea how long this current lockdown of Anyang will be. But the Chinese government don't really care. They're very, if you've ever studied anything about the Chinese government, oh my God, they are crazy. They do things that make me shake my head like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know that they make people disappear? Have you guys heard about, I forget what her name is now, but she's an actress. She was in Mulan. She voiced the character and whatever, right? If the Chinese government believes that you're becoming too popular, because to them, it's a communist country still, communism. The state is the only one that should get the attention. And if you are eclipsing the state, the head of state and whatever, then you become a liability to them. And they have literally made people disappear. And it's weird because there was an article that I was reading. This was just November. Quite a few people have noticed it, right? So here's an article. Celebrities who disappeared after speaking out in China. Here's another one. Why do people disappear in China? 5 high-profile people who disappeared in China. I mean, literally, you disappear. You're gone. Your family don't know what's happened to you. Nothing. And then some of them reemerge. Like one is her name is Peng Shao or something like that. She was a professional tennis player, right? So she had accused a former vice premier of sexual assault, and she disappeared. And it happens to artists, celebrities, high-ranking officials, media moguls. Samara wouldn't want to be in China, child. And they just disappear. There's a guy called Ai Weiwei, I think, maybe is his name. He's an artist. He disappeared. In recent months, this is the one that I was talking about. I think her name is pronounced Zhao Wei or something. But anyway, she's an actress, billionaire film star. You can imagine a billionaire film star and pop singer, Zhao Wei, vanished from public life in China in August. All of her online presence disappeared. So they take down all your social media, everything. It's like you are erased from the face of the earth. Film and TV shows removed from popular streaming sites in China. And people don't know. They're like, is she under house arrest? Have they imprisoned her? What have they done? No one knows. There was a former Interpol chief said that basically, they're purging people from the society. So if they feel like you become too prominent, they will erase you from everything. And then they accuse you of made up, they fabricate like a bunch of crimes and whatever on you. So this Ming Hongwei, he was the Interpol chief. So once they were ready to dispose of him, they basically accused him of accepting bribes and expelled him from the Communist Party. And then in 2020, he was jailed for 13 years. And his poor wife and children were granted political asylum in France because they were afraid that they'd be kidnapped if they went back to China. So China is very different. So they don't like, here's a very interesting thing. Beijing's leadership does not like, and they become very concerned about the rapidly growing power and influence of the country's business elite. So even the founder of, that e-commerce giant, we've all heard the name Alibaba. He's like their Jeff Bezos, Amazon king, right? He's disappeared. And then they're cracking down on his empire, accusing him of monopolistic practices. And you will disappear for sure from public life if you criticize the Chinese government. Wow. They got a bookseller in this. I mean, the list is very, very extensive. So I just say that China is so interesting how they can shut down entire cities and just make people disappear from the face of the earth. They seem to have a lot of power. So China has a zero COVID policy that they're trying to work their mind around. It doesn't seem to ever work because they shut down. You can't keep people shut down forever. Eventually you have to reopen to some extent. And then the virus surges again. When you got millions of people in a city, that's going to happen. Of course, they had the Winter Olympics there. And, they had some cases of it there as well. But anyway, they've shut down another major city, folks. And it's just absolutely crazy. So China, Hong Kong. Who else is doing a zero COVID policy? And everybody says a zero COVID policy is not sustainable. And I think that that's important because there are people here in Cayman who believe that we should have a zero COVID policy. Like every day I have people express concerns to me. Oh my God, Sandy, what's this government doing? Can you tell them to lock us back down? I'm like, why? Lock us back down for what reason? We've got community transmission is raging. How long do you think we'd have to get locked back down, everybody locked down, before we could get back to having no community spread? It's just not a long-term sustainable position. And I think the quicker people understand that it isn't, the more realistic they can be and probably stop stressing themselves out. So Carol says the Chinese are locking people up in metal boxes to try and be COVID-free, and it's not sustainable. The Chinese always fudging their numbers and whatever. But France did a whole article just 7 days ago at China's zero policy and whether or not it even works. Because, they tell you what they want you to know in China. So listen to them. They've officially recorded fewer than 6,000 COVID deaths out of a population of 1.4 billion people. Now, they're lying. No way. I don't believe that for 1 second. 6,000 deaths in 1.4 billion people. This must be the second coming of the good Lord. But they're trying to keep Omicron at bay, I think, is what the latest lockdown is all about. We know that Hong Kong, who's under Chinese rule, have also been doing that. And I'm trying to remember what other countries are trying to do this COVID policy. So Hong Kong pushes supply chain to the breaking point with their attempts to lock down. It's just crazy. So aircrafts at Hong Kong International Airport as Hong Kong scraps flights amid Omicron. They're doing a lot. Importers expect the price of fruit to rise by 10%. These are the implications of locking down. I find it so interesting when people say lockdown and they don't think of any other concern. They don't think of the economic impact. They don't think of the mental health impact. They don't think of, there's so many things that this really has an effect on. Logistics costs are going to surge by 40% within 3 weeks. So this is what cargo capacity dropped below 1/5 of pre-pandemic levels. So this is what's happening in Hong Kong as a result of them trying to maintain this COVID zero strategy. They shut bars, gyms, cinemas. Issues with supply chain. So are you going to really care about a zero COVID policy if you can't even eat? Seafood, cheeses, berries, yogurt, everything. Can't get it. Mm-mm. Cargo flights having an issue. It's a hot mess. It's not sustainable. And I think it has such a negative impact that you really have to try to find that balance. And that's what, the government has been trying to do. That's what I say to people. Listen, at the beginning of the pandemic, when the progressive government shut us down, that's the easiest thing in the world. It's easy actually to shut people down. Whether you're a militarized state like China, or you became a militarized state like the Cayman Islands, you're in lockdown, the police were out in full force. And there were still a lot of people breaching it, trust me, because I still see them even now showing up in court for breaching quarantine. Way back last year, they're now just getting to court. And they're going to pay a fine and keep it moving. This article published November the 15th says why China is the world's last COVID holdout. So I guess it's just China and Hong Kong that are left. There was some African country the other day that the kids finally got back to school. And apparently they were, I can't remember which one it was now, but they were trying to do this whole zero COVID policy thing as well. So New Zealand formally abandoned their quest for zero last year in November. Singapore is offering quarantine-free travel to vaccinated travelers. This, to be clear, this article is from November, right? To vaccinated travelers from Germany, the US, France, and other countries. So even other countries, when New Zealand was doing so well for a while, Australia, all these countries have now realized that zero policy just ain't gonna work. Long term, that's not sustainable. So that's why I think it's so ironic and so funny when you are giving people a knighthood for just locking down a country. Because to me, that's easy. It's reopening and finding the balance of reopening, keeping hospitalization numbers low, dealing with all the travel implications. That is where you want to pull out your hair. And that's where things get kind of crazy. It's easy to lock you down and sit at a press conference and say, no, you can't go use your pool. No, you can't walk the dog on the street. What's wrong with you people? Because lockdown is lockdown. Like, we got it. When he says, turn to your yard. And John was speaking in 50 million languages, or trying to. You got it. Stay home. Don't go on the road. You get an hour a day. You can go grocery shopping on your name day. I mean, it was pretty straightforward and pretty, y'all were trying to complicate the situation, looking for exemptions. Well, what if, no, you're in lockdown. Former Premier Alan McLaughlin said he was sleeping on the couch because he couldn't get his AC fixed. Remember, he had a broken AC or whatever. That kind of made me wonder though, if he was sleeping on the couch because of an AC problem, where was the wife sleeping? Because isn't it the same room? So was she sleeping in the heat on the bed and you were sleeping on the couch because you can cool the living room? Like, I was a little bit like, is she on the floor? Is she on a separate part of the couch? How exactly was this working? Anyway, a zero COVID policy is simply not sustainable. That's the final message. Sarah says unvaccinated people that are direct contacts with a negative result need to isolate, but unvaccinated COVID negative kids with a positive household member can still attend school. The regulators contradict each other. It's super confusing. Wait a minute. No, that's not true. They don't need to isolate. Oh, unvaccinated people that are direct contact. Okay, let me clarify something about the school situation. Okay, let me clarify this. Louis says, look at Bruce Lee. That could be why he moved to another country. Oh, I'm sure, Joe. All right, 1 second, Sarah. There is some clarification on the thing with the school that I will read. Let me just find this message here now. Yesterday was what, Wednesday? No, today's Wednesday, right? Yeah. Okay, so yesterday was Tuesday. Just a second. Okay. So these new updates, the new isolation and quarantine requirements, it doesn't actually mention anything about children. I think somebody kind of slipped up here. And so a lot of people are asking, well, what's the position with children? So this is what we know. If a child is over the age of 5, y'all paying attention? I feel like I should do this as a PSA today. If a child is over the age of 5 and they have a household member who tests positive for COVID-19, they can continue to go to school by using the daily LFTs once they remain negative. Did y'all hear that? If it's a child over the age of 5, so say Gianna, she's over the age of 5. Say I finally catch COVID, right? She can continue going to school as long as she LFTs daily and remains negative. For children under the age of 5, they can continue to attend their early childhood centers, whatever it's called, ECCE centers, once they have no symptoms suggested of a possible COVID-19 disease. So they're not really forcing them to lateral flow test, because trust me, it's hard to lateral flow test even a 5-year-old. So a reminder, symptoms can include fever, a GI, gastrointestinal issues, cough, tiredness, breathing difficulties, loss of smell and taste. And of course, if you have any of those, even if it's not COVID, you should just keep your children home because you don't want to be spreading other stuff. So I hope that that clarifies the position. So kids are always different. You know, I feel like it just is what it is with children. Louis says, don't take an eye off of England. They have the same ability to make people disappear. Well, I think any country, if you let them go rogue on you, have that ability. That's why we, the good citizens, always want to keep an eye on people. But you're less likely to disappear in the US as a state sanctioned. In other words, the government is less likely to be able to make you disappear than the government in China. Nobody checks the government in China. They're carrying out, allegedly, all sorts of human rights atrocities, and they don't answer to anybody. International human rights organizations, I guess, might talk about it. You know, the other day there was an article, there was a journalist that was killed in Haiti, and they were talking about, it was actually 2 journalists that were killed, and both of them were working on stories about the gang violence in Haiti. Now, I got to tell y'all, if I was a journalist, first of all, I wouldn't be a journalist in Haiti. There's certain countries in the world that you pick a different profession, you know, because... But, you know, journalists play an important role in these countries because they bring to light what's really going on. And without them, a lot of times we wouldn't even know. So they do risk their lives in a real way. Mexico is one of the worst places to be a journalist. A lot of places in the Middle East. And of course, Haiti, they say, is the top of the list. And China, I'm sure, is up there as well. But Haiti is horrible because, you know, the gangs will just kill you for doing an article on them or speaking on them or whatever. So Louise says, Lady Sandra, thank you for all that you do for the people that came on. Thank you. At home and abroad. Love gathering with you all and making it easier not to be tempted to come home. Keep sending the warm with the hot tea. Well, I'm so glad that you feel that way. Thank you so much, Sherry. Kind of went and got my hair. I don't think she did a heat treatment yesterday. I think she just washed it and blow dried it. So Sherry Ann, it's probably the hair that you're noticing today that's a little bit different. Yeah, so folks, a few changes there. I think it's better. We're moving in the right direction. The government has been very, very keen to protect children as much as possible. So, you know, we'll get there. The last thing that this government or any government would want on their hands is to be the government who a child died of COVID under. You know, that will be a stain on their legacy forever. And so I hear what y'all are saying. Everybody thinks, oh, children don't die of COVID. Well, that's not true. They might not die at the same rate the adults do, but they do die of COVID. We've had children die of COVID even right next to us in Jamaica. So give the government time. They really are, I feel like, and when I say the government, they're following the advice of the healthcare professionals, folks. So don't rush into this, because you know you same ones are going to be the ones. Oh, don't know why they open up, because my God, you know, we told them I want to be able to travel with my kids. Travel with your kids and put your kids at risk for what? Why? So we can all go to Walmart, we can all go to Disney World. So I do think y'all need to pump the brakes just a little bit. You know, so that would be my advice to you. Relax. Soon come. Don't some things you step with ease, like you're in quicksand. So someone says, oh, this is funny. Good morning. I feel you've been channeling my week. Well, psychic connection. Received calls for advice re cheating husbands, issues with the right side, not left, but similar issues. Oh, really? And do you have a mailing address? Thanks. Mailing address as an email? I hope that's what you mean, because don't send me nothing by snail mail, child, because I'll never get it. I check my mailbox. Once a year, realistically. I think my husband gets to it more than I do. But if you want to send me a letter, send it by email. Send it as an attachment. Don't send it by snail mail, because I'll never get it. All right, let me see here now. Okay, so all right. Yep. Okay, very good. 9:18, 9:45, I think the live stream will start from the court office. Let's talk about court news a little bit, by the way. Remember the lady, Miss, I'm working on this story, but I'm trying to get some information on the exact court date. So y'all have to give me, we like to put up as much information as we can. So you gotta give me a little bit of time on this one. But remember the lady from East End who was accused of basically kidnapping a child and child cruelty? Well, she has pled guilty. The charges against her son were dropped because they couldn't prove that her son actually knew what she was up to. And as a result of that, she's going to be sentenced later this month. Let me see if I can find her picture to remind you guys of who she is. Because I'm sure right now you're like, Sandy, I don't remember that case. So many cases out there. One thing I must say. There we go. I was barely getting any water. One thing I must say is it's not often that you see anyone in court for anything related to children, and especially child cruelty. This was Caymanian what her name is? Hold on. Lurleen Viola Henry Smith, 59 years old. Now, this is a very peculiar situation, because Miss Lurleen has been doing this for quite some time. She's been getting these kids from Jamaica, which is kind of sad, because, you know, just because someone comes from a poorer country or an impoverished country doesn't mean that you can just take people's children and do whatever you want with them. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up in the other browser. So it's so peculiar. Like, I remember reading this case and thinking to myself, this is just so weird. Like, the whole thing, I read the court file and the whole thing just weirded me out. She'd lied about having other children here before. And she was actually getting NAU assistance because she had these children in her custody. So it looks like she's only had one son of her own, I believe. And then she's had all these other children at some point in her custody. So it's kind of bizarre. Like, really, I don't know. And of course, everybody thinks she's being altruistic and she's trying to be helpful and she cares about these children, but maybe she doesn't care about them all. Now, listen to this. This is really weird. I've had some of the children that she has raised over the years reach out to me and said, she's a nice person and she treated me well. And I said, wow, isn't that a contradiction? But you know, folks, it is entirely possible that that is true. Listen to me. Nothing is impossible. And I guess it's, you know, how people can be contradictory at times. It's kind of like the child molester who's actually a philanthropist or a good person in some ways. Like, people have different parts of their personality, and that's why you can never swear for anybody, because you can't say, oh, but this is a person who saves animals, so how could they would never harm a child. You can't ever say that. You just don't know. And the facts of this case, we try to put in as many details as possible, but child, she was bringing children to Cayman that she was lying about, how they were getting here, their names and all sorts of stuff. It's so weird. And, you know, apparently our border control isn't what it used to be. Thank God. We have tightened things up. So you can't really take a child from one jurisdiction to another quite as easily anymore. But in 1996, she brought a 9-month-old female to the Cayman Islands. And then they discovered that she was claiming that these were all different people, and it was actually one child. So she was giving them like 3 different names, and it turns out to be one child. Very, very bizarre situation. And all of this is happening right in East End. I'm thinking to myself, the people in East End didn't know what was going on, or they're not looking at this woman going, but Miss Lurleen, where you keep getting all these children from? Because you know me, I would have been like, Miss Lurleen, where you getting this baby from? This baby not yours. In fact, her husband, some Jamaican guy, was with her at the time. They've since divorced. He said that a baby just showed up one day. And I'm like, come again? And he must have asked one little question. Oh, it's, you know, somebody's baby, whatever. That's it. I'm thinking there's a level of willful ignorance where you turn a blind eye because you don't want to know the truth. You think I could bring a baby into my house and my husband not go, wait a minute. First of all, you can't do it without, that's a conversation you need to have beforehand, right? Oh yeah, I want to foster a child. I want to adopt a child. Like, it's crossed my mind that I do want to foster kids. I've like talked to my husband about it. We're very, very, you know, because we have a daughter, you know, we're like, like what age would we be fostering and that sort of thing. Like, we don't want to put her at risk with any kind of situations. But I think foster homes are important, you know, and if you can help other children, then you should definitely assist. So there's a lot of concerns. But you just show up with a baby at home and your husband's okay with that? Or he just doesn't ask any questions? Like, am I the only person who thinks this is super weird? That's pretty much what happened. She gave him some story, and my husband would have been like, whoa. I need to see the papers. He would ask a lot of questions, and I don't think he would have just been so accepting of the situation, but I guess everybody's different. You know, I take a trip to Jamaica and I come back with a child. He'd be like, whose child is this? Where did this child come from? Of course, he's from Jamaica, so I think he would have an extra eyebrow going, And her husband was from Jamaica too. And he's still like, oh, okay. You can just bring a child in and that's okay. Anyway, child, I think she's going to be going to jail because she was mistreating this little boy, 12 years old. He wasn't able to be a kid. She didn't have him enrolled in school. She had him doing the housework and everything, it seems like, beating him and stuff as well. And I think it was alleged, but they've now dismissed the charges against the son, that he was involved in, potentially using the child for like slave labor kind of thing. So the little boy ran away. She reported the child missing. He ran away. And I think that the following day, he was found in distress in the water. Poor little thing. I don't know what he was thinking in his head, if he was going to try and swim back to Jamaica or what was going on. But he literally went in the ocean to try to get help. I think he said, when I was reading the report, that he thought if he was in the water, and I don't even think he could swim, that he would have caused the commotion and then people would come to rescue him. And of course, that's exactly what was happening. So he was found in distress in the water up by East End near the High Rocks. Now, child, all I can say, he's very lucky that he didn't drown, poor thing, because that would have been another hot mess. So he later shared with the authorities that he ran away and eventually went into the ocean to be rescued by the authorities. And he said that he's 12 years old and he was living with a lady and her son, but he wanted to return to Jamaica. Now, you know things not right if you bring a child from an impoverished environment and they want to go back because you treat them so poorly. Poor thing. So she was asked for identification for the child, and she claims that she did not enroll him in school because she's waiting on school records and his birth certificate. The whole thing is shady AF. Doesn't make any sense. So at some point, she produced a passport and birth certificate, which apparently she had the whole time, to the Health Services Authority for the child to receive assistance at the A&E. By the way, he was in quite a physical state and suffering from malnourishment. Now, Miss Lorleen, you not easy now, because look at you. You not starving. You can get eyebrows done, wearing lipstick. Every picture on Facebook, she's trying to pose. Right? Plump. So she's eating. And probably eating some good East End food too. And a 12-year-old child in your care is malnourished. Children don't even eat that much. Well, I don't know about some of y'all children, but my little one don't really eat that much. It would take, and she's petite, but it would take a lot to make her malnourished. You just feed them a couple times in the day. How hard can it be? This case really disturbed me, I must say. To think that you could take a child into your care that you're supposed to be able to help, and then in fact what you're doing to that poor child is mistreating the child. Miss Lorraine going to jail. We'll update you guys a little bit later on in terms of when that's going to happen. Okay. Keep you posted later on this month. Justice Richards will hand down a sentence. Justice Richards, please throw the book at her. All right. Ooh, okay. All right, folks. That's pretty much all we've got for you. There's a couple other, the court cases are starting to pick back up. Today, by the way, if you're going to court, there will be no court in the morning. I think from 10 to 2, it's closed to the public because of the court opening ceremony that's going to happen. So we're going to start that live stream here in just a little bit. So tune back in for that. We'll have our evening news this evening. And do not forget that today's Wednesday. So the Territories Talk will be coming on at 6:30 p.m. Cayman time as well. So please remember that.
Hello, everyone. I am Fiona Alexander Smith from Montserrat, inviting you to join Territories Talk this Wednesday, January 12. Two very special guests, Premier of Montserrat, Honorable Joseph E. Farrell, and Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Andrew Foy, will be discussing the topic Unifying the Overseas Territories. Territories Talk will be live and interactive on the Territories Talk Facebook and YouTube pages, starting at 7:30 p.m. in the Eastern Caribbean, Bermuda, and the British Virgin Islands, 6:30 p.m. in the Cayman Islands, the Turks and Caicos Islands, and Jamaica. You will be able to submit questions and comments for the Honorable Premiers to respond to. It will be simulcast on Bermuda's Channel 82, ZGB Radio in Montserrat, 95.5 FM, Cayman Mall Road Facebook page, and CBN Radio 90.9 FM in the Virgin Islands. Join Territories Talk as they continue to inform and unite our OT family.
Okay, so tune in tonight, folks, at 6:30. Around 9 o'clock, we should have the news segment up. And I think that's all I've got for you today. So new isolation regulations, make sure that you understand them if you don't understand them for some reason. COVID-19, that's community notices. Oh, by the way, in terms of community notices, CUC has advised that they're going to be doing some tree trimming. I had to take a minute to pronounce that tongue twister. So please be mindful of that, because that is going to be happening starting yesterday, actually, out in the outer districts. In fact, you know what I should start doing is something has just occurred to me. You know, Misha does the news, and that's all of these snippets, right? But in the morning, I could actually quite easily play individual segments. So I know that she did one on the tree, on the tree one. Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to hit that button. Uh-oh. No. Close that. Cancel. But they're going to be carrying out tree trimming out in the Frank Sound area. So they've advised the public to please be careful of, whenever you see the little sign says we're trimming trees, don't speed and don't, run all over the place and knock down the tree trimmers. Take your time, because they're trying to do their thing. Anything else? I think that's it, really. Yes, let me just see here. A new project, 16 by 19. Yeah, so do be mindful of that. I'm just trying to see if there's any other news, like any other alerts. If you have a temporary plate, folks, the next 3 Saturdays, the DVDL will be offering you the opportunity to swap out your plates. So please, by all means, contact them about that. You can just go in on Saturdays and get that all sorted out. I don't know how many temporary plates are out there, but it seems like it could be a few, why they're encouraging people to definitely get this done. There's a drug bust that we reported on last night in the news. Go back and watch the daily news to get all those details. And you know what else happened, folks? That was quite interesting. Oops, let me just see here. Is there was a young man from Trinidad who actually died in a car crash. He is a Trinidadian athlete. He went to the Olympics, I think, on 3 different occasions. He's won a bronze medal as part of their relay team. And unfortunately, I want to say he's only in his 20s or maybe 30s. Unfortunately, he got in a car accident in Texas and has succumbed to his injuries. So we had to report that bit of bad news. Really, really sad. So our condolences reach across to our Caribbean brothers and sisters, to his family. because, you know, it's just horrible, really, to hear that actually happened. Unbelievable. You know, all I can tell you is because you're young, that doesn't give you a pass on anything. You know, it is what it is. I'm trying to sort something out here. Okay, so that's all I've got for you. You guys have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sydney, thank you so much. She was 29 years old. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very sad. Tracy says, I see some people no plates at all. Well, you know, that's completely illegal. With many folks that have new cars over the holidays, why are they driving out with no plates? Well, if you have a new car, you got a plate. So let me be very clear here. The car company, that's part of what they offer is when you buy the car, you get normally a couple years worth, at least a year, if not more, worth of registration along with the vehicle. So they probably have it in the dashboard. So a lot of them haven't put it on the car yet, but they'll put it up on the dashboard. So it's probably in the vehicle somewhere. Good car companies actually attach it for you. Like they'll, you know, make sure that you have a plate holder and they put it in for you and that sort of thing. Because if the plates are not put in quite well, that's why a lot of them come off during storms and stuff, because they haven't been put in to the placeholders as well as they should be. So that's a little bit weird. Oh, breaking news. Here you know. A federal judge in New York. You're hearing it here first on CMR. A federal judge in New York denies Prince Andrew's request to dismiss that lawsuit. Ooh, royal family, you got a situation brewing. OMG. Prince Andrew, you might be in a little bit of trouble, child. New York federal judge said no. So this progresses the case. Oh my gosh, this is big news. You know, poor Queen Elizabeth, her son's stressing her out. That old lady is like, she's on peace. I'm almost 100 years old. Could I just live 100 years of peacefulness with all this drama? First, y'all, you know, mistreat poor Diana. Then she dies, and that made us look bad. And now look at my son out here with these young girls and doing the most, allegedly. Good morning, Miss Dorothy. That's it for a show this morning, beautiful people. 9:45. We're gonna, which is shortly, we're gonna restart the stream, and it's gonna be the court proceedings, the opening of the court. Every year, it's an annual event. If you've never seen it before, definitely log back in. It's very interesting to see, and of course, the Chief Justice will make a speech, and normally he's begging for more money and a new courthouse, which is needed. I'm not saying it's not needed, but they could do so much more what they have now, child. Ooh, sometimes the technology and stuff, I'll be sitting there shaking my head. One suggestion I have, anybody listening that works at the court's office, when they do a court file, every judge hand writes on the court file. Their handwriting is just as bad as doctors. You can't read it. It's like reading hieroglyphics, right? It's pretty bad. I have an idea that is so simple, right? Have a computer, and most of the judges have laptops. They come in, they put up their laptop, they bring it up. Sometimes they're sitting there typing, the younger ones especially taking notes. Have a little computer there, small factory form computer. It doesn't have to take up much space. And a label printer. You can do the small desktop label printers, or you could have a bigger printer, which would be more economical because you'd be using it quite a bit. And then you do those labels where you can put notes on, you know, put the date today, because what they do is they write, like, say somebody shows up in court today, they'll put it on there and then they'll write, you know, bail conditions varied. This is what they did. This is when they're supposed to come out, and they write it on the folder. So let me show you guys what they do. So they use they don't use colored folders. They use the standard. What would that color be? Like it's a color, but it's like the standard one. Whatever that color is, right? And so they write on the physical folder. They'll put today's date, and then they run out of space when they get down here. So sometimes you're like trying to figure out, where do we start? Where do we go to? What happened? It is very hard to read their handwriting. And so might I suggest that an easy fix for this is to just have them type it up on a label. You can print it out in real time and stick it right in the folder, because then they give the files back to the registry. Criminal registry, civil registry gets the files back. And you get to see all the judge's notes, right? And it says, okay, they're going to appear back on this date. Like, they put everything on there. One thing they've started doing that I think is a fantastic idea is if you're a defendant and you go to court now, they're issuing you a card with your next date. It's like an appointment card. That's good, because when you go to the doctor, they give you a little appointment card. So they actually have appointment cards now, and the bailiff will fill it out. So you don't have no excuse claiming that, oh, you didn't write it down and you got the date wrong, whatever. Before you leave, look at my little, you saw my filter just now, it just showed the eyelashes. That was funny. Before you leave, they'll give you this appointment card before you leave the dock, or is that little booth called the dock? I think that's what they call it. Whatever, the bench area that you sit in. So before you leave, they give you an appointment card and you know when you're due back. So now you have no excuse. So can't you just go one step further and improve the technology a little bit more? It's a suggestion. I'm going to keep harping on it until somebody takes me up on it. License plates. I do have a response. So here's what I'm told in relation to plates. My source has said, let me see here. So my source says, oh gosh, where's this message? So that message was specific to temporary plates. Regular plates, you know how they were changing out. So I asked her, plates in for all to swap out the old ones. And I know that blah, blah, blah. So this person says, no, ma'am. They're still in the process of making the new ones to replace the old ones. And not all of the replacements have been made yet. Where are these replacements made? Are we making them in prison or something? Why they're taking so long? Maybe this is something we should probably outsource. It seems an awful long time. My car, when I first got it, they had just started changing out the plates because I got an old plate and I was told, oh, you have to wait. Although you just got a car and they just started. Yeah, we won't get to you for a while because you just got a new car. That's 5 years ago. That was over 5 years ago. Because September would have been 5 years. I've got a going into 6-year-old car. And I'm like, okay. And it took years. Like, I think by year 3 or something, I finally got my new plates. It took a really long time. And I'm thinking, why? Can't you just order them from someplace in China? Speaking of China. All right, folks. Thank you so much for tuning into the program. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Be blessed. Don't be stressed. Listen to the court show coming up next, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Tune in this evening to Territories Talk. Next week, Wednesday, the premiere is back at 7 o'clock. You guys are wonderful. Have a good day.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.